fear is something we all face, but in leadership and in business, it can show up in some surprising ways. Melanie Borden is the founder and brand strategist of the Borden Group and author of Theater of the Mind. It explores how fear is just a story that our mind creates under pressure. Very interesting. We say good morning to Melanie.
Good morning.
I love the way you step outside the box and analyze this all because it's true. We all have fear, right? Fear is part of survival instinct, but you step back and say, well, what is fear? Why do we have it? It's a chemical reaction. We all respond to it. What is it? So your book talks about fear showing up in leadership as hesitation rather than panic. So what does that mean?
So, earlier on, when I started the work that I do, what I started noticing with very accomplished senior level executives is that they had this fear of going to market, whether it was talking on LinkedIn, going on podcasts, even talking to me about their accomplishments. And so, as I started working more and more with these executives, I started noticing and just breaking it down and seeing that fear, although they had already been so accomplished, was really overriding everything that they were doing. And in addition to that, it was almost as if internally hadn't caught up to their career trajectory at that point.
Mhm. And people tend to not move forward because they overthink, don't they? They always say, well, I want to get it just right. Well, that first impression, I don't want to ruin it. So what they end up doing is just delay, delay, delay.
Right, exactly. So it could be delaying, it could be referring it to somebody else on their team, having someone in marketing handling it for them, coming up with reasons why their board might not necessarily approve of it. There are so many different hesitation tactics, but ultimately, what it comes down to is it's fear of being seen, fear of being judged, fear of what other people might think of them. And overall, just the fear overrides everything.
And you rename fear as a story that the mind creates under pressure rather than a signal to stop. Explain that for everybody.
Exactly. So what will happen is it's something as simple as think about, with the snowstorm that we just had in New Jersey.
Mhm.
Well, I might not necessarily have hired someone to plow my driveway because of the fact that I might not want to pay somebody $200 or $300 to plow my driveway. So I'm just going to wait and I'm going to delay it and I'm going to delay it until I start seeing outside that it's snowing out and I really need to have my driveway taken care of. So a lot of times it's just delaying the inevitable and just delaying the next phase of what is eventually going to happen, which eventually I need to have my driveway cleared.
Okay. But right, so you get to cut right to the quick and say, all right, here's the point. We got to get to this point. Stop the fear. And when you recognize fear then as a story, what's the key to pushing yourself over the hump and moving forward?
Action. Action is the antidote to anything. You just have to move through it and you just have to take that next step. So whether it's going and posting on LinkedIn, going on a morning show, going onto a podcast, you have to take the next step in that fear.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to myself when I first started in broadcasting. I've been doing it over 40 years. And I was at Channel 7, I was at Channel 55, Channel 5. And I remember people would say, you sit on that set for the first time, you're talking to a million people. How do you do it? I said, you just do it. You just do it, right? You take a deep breath and you do it. And you know that once you start with the first sentence, the rest of it just goes. You just have to do it. I mean, Nike said it best, just do it. Do you have any stories of leaders or entrepreneurs who've turned fear into action? You can give us some examples.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was someone I've done over the course of the last 4.5 years that I've been at the helm of my company. I have had probably close to 1,000 discovery calls. And the one thing that I always see over and over again, and really what inspired me to write this book, was the people who I would talk to and he would say to me, I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to be an influencer. I'm not sure that this is the right move for me. How is this going to turn into some viable business for my company or help us get to where we need to be with the product that we're launching? And one of our clients in particular had come to me and he has 14 businesses in the Southeast. And he had said, I need to be the one front and center for my company. I need to be the one that my employees look to. I need to make sure that we're bringing in not only new clients, but new employees. We need employee acquisition and we need to retain our existing employees. And so it was something that we had started with just posting on LinkedIn and making some advisory recommendations on what podcasts to go on to and what other types of content that him and or his team could be publishing. And long story short, he grew his firm by from about 150 people to over 200 people over the course of the 2 years that we've been working together. And he has one of the highest in the engineering industry employee retention numbers that's out there. So it just goes to show that if you have a specific goal, if there's something that you're looking to achieve, you can absolutely achieve it by setting a goal and then just moving past the fear. Because initially, a lot of times what people think is, no, I don't know if people want to hear from me, because they're thinking about themselves and they might not necessarily be thinking about who they are to others and what type of role model or inspiration to others that they're also providing.
Yeah, most people, what I've discovered in my years is most people with fear, it's about fear of judgment and criticism and fear of failure. And once you realize that judgment from others shouldn't matter, and failure is just an opportunity to learn, to move forward and accomplish an even greater goal the next time. The most successful people on the planet failed, right? They've all failed. Every major corporate leader, the owner, Jeff Bezos, failed a bunch of times. You're doing okay right now. So how does learning to manage fear rather help us to achieve those bigger goals? Is it basically that?
Yeah, it's just you have to just take the action. You just have to do it. You have to do it. You have to make the mistakes and you have to make yourself the person that other people can look to and say, okay, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And it's just a matter of continuing the process and continuing to refine and learning from those mistakes. Like you just said, all those examples that you just gave, every single person who has had any sort of success has had to go through something. They've made mistakes. They just have.
What is a and it's true, 100%. Look in history. Every person, George Washington, big failure a whole bunch of times, and he did pretty well. What is a website for more information, Melanie?
My company website is called humantobrand.com. That's where you can learn more about my advisory firm and also my book, Theater of the Mind.
That's it. The name of the book again, Theater of the Mind, author Melanie Borden, founder and brand strategist of the Borden Group. Thank you for coming on today. Stay warm.
Thank you.
Bet. Fascinating. That's it. Just don't fear. If you have fear, put it aside. Just ignore it and move forward, because everybody gets judged and everybody fails. You just have to accept that. Once you accept that, you'll be okay.